Hello students, in the last class we were discussing some of the important and interesting concepts such as colligative properties, as well as we have completed three colligative properties, that is relative lowering of vapor pressure, elevation in boiling point, as well as depression in freezing point. And also we have seen some of the graphical representation in case of elevation in boiling point and depression in freezing point. Along with that I have given two to three formulas even for the relative lowering of vapor pressure also we have given. And as I said, there will be one compulsory question, that is numerical problematic questions which will be asked for your annual examination. So just understand the concept and go through those formulas and remember those formulas, right? So that is a calculation of delta TB, calculation of delta TF, or calculation of molarity of the molecules, right? So like this the problematic question may arise in your annual examination. And the fourth and last important colligative property in case of second chapter, that is solutions, osmosis. Right? So osmosis already you have learnt in biology, and you have also learnt the reverse osmosis process, but it is included here also in case of solutions. Right? So as we already know, osmosis is nothing but the movement of molecules from one concentration to another concentration through semi-permeable membrane. Right? So whenever the molecules move from one concentration to another concentration, right, through a semi-permeable membrane. Semi means half, right? So which means only in one direction there will be movement of molecules, but there will be no chance of movement of molecules in the reverse direction. So that kind of a membrane, or that kind of the sheet, or whatever the cloth it may be, right? So that is generally called as a semi-permeable membrane, right? So similar to the skin, even our skin also acts as a semi-permeable, because whenever the sweat comes out of the body, out of the skin, but whenever the water falls on the skin, it will not enter into the body, right? Which means there is only unidirectional movement of molecules you can see. So therefore that kind of membrane is generally called as semi-permeable membrane. And you have already learned the potato experiment in 9th as well as 10th classes, right? So if you take a potato and if you peel that, right, so the upper surface of the potato, and there will be some kind of small pores into that, right? So if you keep that potato in a sugar solution, right, so by attaching a pin, so after 10 hours or after 24 hours, what happens, the water which is present in the beaker can enter into that potato which is cutted into the cup shape, right? So like this there will be movement of molecules. This is a simple experiment which we have learned in 9th as well as 10th also, right? So therefore the movement of molecules generally from one concentration to another concentration, the most important word here is semi-permeable membrane, through semi-permeable membrane, and that process is generally called as osmosis, right? And for your syllabus they have given one simple experiment, right? So here it is a beaker which consists of the solvent molecules, and they have fixed one inverted glass tube, right? So it is like a cup shaped inverted glass tube, and there will be one semi-permeable membrane here, right? So for that cup there is one semi-permeable membrane here, right? So through this semi-permeable membrane, right, so the molecules move from solvent, right? So the molecules will move from solvent, and here you can observe the height of the movement of the molecules, right? So here you can observe the height of the movement of the molecules from one concentration or one level to another level, right? So therefore this process is generally called as osmosis. Just remember one word, that is semi-permeable membrane, movement of molecules from one concentration to another concentration through semi-permeable membrane, that is generally called as osmosis. And it can be asked for 1 mark also, right? So if they ask for 2 marks, you must draw this diagram, right? So very simple diagram. Beaker consists of solvent molecules, and inverted cup, right, so which consists of a semi-permeable membrane, and there will be a movement of molecules. Show the direction of movement of molecules and go through this diagram twice or thrice. It is very simple. So further, if you go for a 1 mark question, that is osmotic pressure, right? So this is very important. Osmotic pressure is the pressure applied in a reverse direction, or you can call it as opposite direction, right? And to stop the process of osmosis, already know what is osmosis, right? So if the osmosis is taking place in certain kind of material or in certain kind of arrangement, so further if you want to stop that osmosis, right, for example here when you put a potato in a solution, what happens, there will be a movement of molecules from a solution into the potato, right? So if I want to stop this movement of molecules into potato, so I have to apply the pressure in the opposite direction. I have to apply the pressure in the opposite direction, right? So whenever we apply the pressure in the opposite direction, then what happens? The process of osmosis stops. The process of osmosis stops, and that process is generally called as osmotic pressure, right? So therefore, the pressure applied in a reverse direction or pressure applied in the opposite direction to stop the process of, understand, to stop the process of osmosis is generally called as osmotic pressure. Very simple. It may be asked for 2 marks. Osmotic pressure is nothing but the pressure applied in opposite direction or in reverse direction to stop the process of osmosis, that is called as osmotic pressure. Here if you observe, there is a simple arrangement, there is experimental arrangement. So there are 2 beakers. So this is the first beaker which consists of solution molecules. This is the second beaker which consists of solvent molecules. So here it is connected in between with a bridge and which is having the semi-permeable membrane, right? So arrangement is very simple. There are 2 beakers which are connected to each other with a bridge, and in between that bridge there is an semi-permeable membrane, right? So one is of solution, right? So one is of solution, another is one of solvent molecule, right? So here what happens? So due to the movement of molecules from one concentration to another concentration, the osmosis process was taking place. The osmosis process was taking place. So therefore both are at the normal atmospheric pressure. That is, I have written as P atmosphere, P subscript atmosphere, right? So normal pressure which was given with the help of atmosphere, that is generally called as P atmosphere, right? So but what happens due to osmosis, right? So due to this osmosis, right? So the molecules move from solvent concentration to solution concentration, right? So we already know osmosis is the process of movement of molecules from one direction to another direction, one concentration to another concentration. Therefore what happens here? So the solvent molecules will move towards the solution molecules. Solvent molecules will move towards the solution molecules. Thus here in this case what happens? So you must apply the extra pressure. You must apply the extra pressure, that is pi. You must apply the extra pressure pi, so that it will stop the flow of molecules from solvent to solution, right? To stop this process, already the molecules are moving from solvent to solution, but to stop this process what we have to do? You have to apply the extra pressure in the opposite direction. You have to apply the extra pressure in the opposite direction. Thus the process of osmosis stops, and that process is generally called as osmotic pressure, right? So very simple. If you take any kind of a solution, so in that already osmosis is taking place. To stop the process of movement of that molecules, you must apply the extra pressure, right? So we'll do a little bit of rough work here. So here if you observe, there are 2 beakers, the same diagrammatic representation. There is a movement of molecules from, this is the first beaker, this is the second beaker, right? So both have the pressure, right? So because both have the liquid molecules and both have the atmospheric pressure of P atmosphere, right? So this is also having P atmosphere, right? So this is a pressure exerted by the environment or pressure exerted by the wind which is present in the air, right? So that is P atmospheric pressure. But the movement of molecules will take from that is a solvent molecule to solution molecule, like this. The movement will take place in direction through the semi-permeable membrane. Both are connected with the semi-permeable membrane, right? So this is semi-permeable membrane, right? So here what happens? Due to the movement of molecules from one concentration to another concentration through semi-permeable membrane, we'll call it as osmosis. But if you apply the extra pressure in opposite direction, because it is taking in this direction, if you apply the pressure in the opposite direction, right? So that means I have to increase this atmospheric pressure. If both are same, so there will be no any extra pressure. If you put extra pressure, what happens? The pi is recognized as the extra pressure, right? So pi is recognized as the extra pressure. So therefore here I will add plus pi. Here I will add plus pi. Initially it was a P atmosphere, but here I am converting this P atmosphere into P atmosphere plus pi. This pi is generally called as extra pressure, right? So due to extra pressure what happens? The movement of molecules will stop from so osmosis, right? So osmosis process, and therefore this process is generally called as osmotic pressure, right? So that is generally called as osmotic pressure. Very simple experiment and very simple diagrammatic representation. The pressure applied in a reverse direction or in an opposite direction to stop the process of osmosis is generally called as osmotic pressure. And also we have seen the diagrammatic representation, and there is one important formula in case of calculation of atmospheric pressure, right? So that is osmotic pressure. The calculation of osmotic pressure, there is one formula, that is pi into V is equal to W2 into RT divided by M2, right? So this is the formula, that is pi into V, that is equal to W2 into RT divided by M2, right? So where pi represents the molarity of the molecule, right? And pi is equal to CRT. Pi is equal to, generally we can call it as C into RT, that is concentration, that is rate constant into temperature. Sorry, concentration, that is gas, right? So gas constant, not rate constant, it is gas constant, and into temperature, right? And where pi represents the osmotic pressure, C represents the concentration, R represents the gas constant, and T represents the temperature. Therefore, pi is equal to C into RT, right? So therefore, there is one formula, pi into V, that is equal to W2 into RT divided by M2. Therefore, if you want to calculate M2, I can transpose this here. So therefore, M2 is equal to, right? So M2 is equal to, what happens? It will become W2 into RT divided by pi into V, right? So this is the formula for the calculation of molarity of the molecules during osmotic pressure or during osmosis. Very simple, where M2 represents the molarity, alright, and R represents the gas constant, right? So T represents the temperature, W2 represents the weight of the solvent, and M2, that is pi, represents the osmotic pressure. Pi represents the osmotic pressure, and V represents the volume of the molecule. V represents the volume of the molecules added, right? So this is the formula for the calculation of osmotic pressure in case of a given solution. These two definitions are very important. One is osmosis, the movement of molecules from one concentration to another concentration through semi-permeable membrane, right? And osmotic pressure is the pressure applied in the reverse direction or opposite direction to stop the process of osmosis is generally called as osmotic pressure. Okay, next there are two important definitions for your annual examination. In that, first one is isotonic solutions, right? So the solutions having same osmotic pressure at the given temperature is generally called as isotonic solution, right? So if there are two solutions, say for example A and B, right? So A is first solution, B is second solution, right? So here if A and B both are having same osmotic pressure, right? So two solutions having same atmospheric pressure at same temperature, and these solutions are generally recognized as, right? So isotonic solutions, right? Iso means same, right? The two solutions which are having same osmotic pressure at same temperature, right? So if they are having A and B are the two solutions which are having same osmotic pressure at same temperature, and these are recognized as the isotonic solution. That only I have written here, right? So isotonic, iso means same, right? So therefore two solutions having same osmotic pressure at a given temperature, it is called as isotonic solution, right? And one important note point is the fluid which is present inside the blood, right? So inside blood, whatever the fluid is present, that is equivalent to 0.9% of mass by volume of the sodium chloride solution, right? So generally sodium chloride solution is nothing but the NaCl solution, right? So that NaCl solution which is present in the body, right? So in case of blood cells, right? So if you consider, this is one of the important note point, right? So if you consider blood cell, right? So blood cell consists of NaCl solution, that is sodium chloride solution, right? So this sodium chloride solution is having the concentration of, right? So concentration of 0.9% mass by volume. This is the 0.9% of mass by volume of NaCl, right? So the blood cell, the human blood cell consists of concentration, that is of NaCl of 0.9% mass by volume, 0.9% mass by volume sodium chloride solution. If it increases from 0.9%, right? If it is higher than the 0.9%, so we'll call it as, right? So we'll call it as a hypertonic solution. It is generally called as hypertonic solution, right? So if it is less than 0.9%, right? So we'll call it as a hypotonic solution. So here hyper, the word hyper represents that is greater value, right? So the word hyper represents greater value, right? And the word hypo represents a lesser value, or you can call it as a smaller value, right? So if the solution which is having the concentration more than 0.9% in case of blood cell, I'm just talking about the blood cell, not all the solutions, right? So if it is more than 0.9%, then it is called as hypertonic solution, and if it is less than 0.9%, then it is called as hypotonic solution. If it is exactly equal to 0.9%, then it is normal solution, right? So there are three kinds of solution. One is normal, second one is hypertonic, third one is hypotonic, right? So therefore here if you observe, if you consider any blood cell, that blood cell consists of NaCl solution, right? So the concentration of this blood cell is 0.9% by mass by volume. So if the concentration increases from 0.9%, or if it is greater than 0.9%, that kind of solution is generally called as hypertonic solution, because it is greater than the normal value. If it is lesser than the normal value, which means if it is 0.8%, or if it is 0.75%, that is less than 0.9%, then that is called as a hypotonic solution, where hypo means a lesser, or you can call it as smaller value. Therefore, there are two kinds of solution in case of isotonic solution. One is hypertonic solution, another one is hypotonic solution. This hyper and hypo can be categorized on the basis of the concentration that is present in the blood cell, that is 0.9% mass by volume sodium chloride solution, right? So wherever the solution which is having more concentration, this is very important, more concentration than the normal saline concentration. Normal saline concentration is 0.9%, but more than 0.9%, that solution is generally called as a hypertonic solution. And if you take a blood cell dipped in an hypertonic solution, if you take a blood cell, if it dip in the hypertonic solution, that will generally shrinks or reduces its area, because the concentration of the molecules which is present in that solution is more, right? And the hypotonic solution is which is having the smaller concentration. The solution which are having the low concentration than the normal saline, concentration are called as a hypotonic solution, are generally called as hypotonic solution. If the blood cell is dipped in a hypotonic solution, it swells. Blood cell is dipped in a hypotonic solution, it swells, right? So which means increases in its area, right? So here I will give the representation for the hypotonic and hypotonic. Consider, so one is hypertonic, right? So this is hypertonic solution. So another one is hypotonic, right? So there are two different kinds of solution, right? So if I take a beaker, right? So if I take a beaker or a plate, right? So which consists of a hypertonic solution here, right? And which consists of hypotonic solution. So in hypertonic solution, what happens? The concentration of molecules is more, right? So that is of NaCl. The NaCl concentration is more, right? So therefore what happens? If you put a blood cell in this, right? So if you take any kind of blood cell, right? So if you take a blood cell, what happens? Its area decreases, right? So its area, what happens? It will decreases. And if you say this is the original area of the blood cell, if you consider this is the original area of the blood cell, due to hypertonic solution, what happens? Its area shrinks. Its area becomes very less. It is inverted, right? So which means the original area becomes less, and this phenomena is called as a shrinking, right? It shrinks, right? So the area reduces. What happens here? The area reduces, right? So therefore whenever you put a blood cell in the higher concentration, that is wherever the concentration is more, that is generally called as hypertonic solution. Whenever the blood cell is dipped in hypertonic solution, always remember the blood cell shrinks, right? So the same blood cell, if you put in case of hypotonic solution, in hypotonic solution what happens? Water content is more, right? So in hypotonic solution what happens? Water content is more. Whenever there is a water content is more, right? So the blood cell, what happens, it will acquire the molecules, it acquire the water molecules, and that what happens, so its area increases, its area, what happens, it increases, right? So we can show that, so here the area increases, right? So the area increase, it will go like this, right? So due to the addition of water molecule or hypotonic solution, so here what happens, it will swell. So understand the concept, very simple. So this can be asked for 1 mark in the annual examination, right? So what is isotonic solution, and what happens when the blood cell is dipped into the hypertonic solution? It will shrink in case of hypertonic solution. In case of hypotonic solution, what happens, the blood cell will swell, right? So that is the important thing in case of isotonic solution, hypertonic solution, and hypotonic solution. Understand the concept. The blood cell which is having the normal concentration, that is 0.9% mass by volume, that is NaCl solution. If it is greater than 0.9%, then it is generally called as a hypertonic solution, which is having the greater value. If it is less than 0.9%, it is called as hypotonic solution, or it is called as lesser or smaller concentration value, right? And hypertonic solution, whenever the blood cell is dipped in the hypertonic solution, generally concentration of the molecule is more, that is of NaCl, then the blood cell will shrink. But in case of hypotonic solution, what happens, the water content will be more. Hypo means the content of water is more, and the content of the NaCl molecules will be less. Content of NaCl molecules will be less. So here if you observe NaCl, in this NaCl concentration is very less. Here the NaCl concentration is very less. So therefore what happens, the water will go inside the cell, right? So go inside the cell and it will swell, and it will swell. So therefore whenever the blood cell is dipped in the, if they ask, whenever the blood cell is dipped in the hypertonic solution, the blood cell will shrink, right? So whenever the blood cell is dipped in hypotonic solution, it will swell, right? So understand, these two are very important, and this can be asked for 1 mark in the annual examination. So what is isotonic solution, what is hypertonic solution, what is hypotonic solution, as well as what happens when the blood cell is dipped in the solution which is having the greater concentration than the normal saline concentration. Or they may ask in the way that whenever that blood cell is dipped in the hypotonic solution, what will be the changes that are observed in case of blood cell, right? So like this 1 mark question will be definitely asked for your annual examination. And the last important part of this syllabus, so we are up to the ending of this concept, that is solutions chapter. And the last part of this chapter is reverse osmosis and water purification, right? So reverse osmosis means whenever the applied pressure is greater or larger than the osmotic pressure, then the molecules move in the opposite direction through a semi-permeable membrane, and this process is generally called as a reverse osmosis, right? So we have already seen the osmotic pressure. Osmotic pressure means the movement of molecules will stop due to the, right? So due to the application of extra pressure, the movement of molecules will stop, and that process is generally called as osmotic pressure. But if you go on increasing that osmotic pressure, at certain level what happens, the movement of molecules will take place in the reverse direction. The movement of molecules will take place in the reverse direction, and that process is called as a reverse osmosis, right? So reverse osmosis, which means there are 3 important phenomena during osmosis, right? So the first phenomena is osmosis, right? So there is a movement of molecules from one direction to another direction, right? And second one is osmotic pressure, right? So second one is osmotic pressure, that is to stop the process of osmosis, right? So third important is a reverse osmosis, right? So reverse osmosis means whenever the pressure applied is greater than osmotic pressure, right? So the molecules move in opposite direction, right? So the molecules move in opposite this direction, right? So already the process of osmosis is taking place, right? So there is a movement of molecules from one atmosphere, one concentration to another concentration. If you apply the pressure, that is P atmospheric pressure plus pi, right? So if you apply this pressure, what happens? It will convert and stop the process of osmosis, that is called as osmotic pressure. If you increase the pressure than this osmotic pressure, then what happens? The movement will take place in the reverse direction. The movement will take place in the reverse direction, and that process is called as reverse osmosis. Very simple. If you take two container, in one there is an salt water, in one is that is fresh water, in between there is a semi-permeable membrane. If you apply the pressure greater than pi is used for osmotic pressure. If you apply the pressure greater, very very greater than that of pi, which means that of the osmotic pressure, then what happens? The movement of molecules will take place in the reverse direction, or movement will take place in the opposite direction. Observe this, right? So the molecules will move in the opposite direction, and this opposite direction of movement of molecules is generally called as reverse osmosis, right? So this is an Western diagrammatic representation, and this process is used mainly for the purification of seawater. Purification of seawater, right? So the reverse osmosis is generally used for the purification of seawater, because seawater consists of large concentration of or high concentration of NaCl solution. To remove that sodium chloride or salt which is present in the seawater, we have to go for the process of reverse osmosis. Just remember, osmosis is a normal process. Osmotic pressure is the process which stops the process of osmosis, and reverse osmosis means whenever you apply the pressure very much greater than that of pi means that is osmotic pressure, right? So whenever you apply greater pressure than that of the osmotic pressure, then what happens? The molecules will move in the reverse direction, right? So it will move in the reverse direction, and that process is generally called as reverse osmosis. And one of the important definition here is abnormal molar mass and Ventov factor, right? So the molar mass of the solution that is either lower or higher than that of the expected or normal value, then it is called as abnormal molar mass, right? So this can be asked for 1 mark, right? So very simple definition: if it is greater or smaller than the normal value, and that molar mass is generally called as abnormal molar mass, right? For example, if I take the normal molar mass is right, so normal molar mass is equal to 25, right? So this is an just example, not always it will be equal to 25, right? So if it is greater than 25 or lesser than 25, right? So if it is greater than 25 or lesser than 25, then it is called as abnormal. Then it is called as abnormal molar mass, right? So therefore, the molar mass of the solution, right? So either it is lower or higher than that of the expected value, whatever the value we expect, or whatever the value that is greater or lesser than the normal value, and that is generally called as abnormal molar mass. And there is one important formula for the calculation of Ventov factor, that is Ventov factor is always represented as I. Remember, Ventov factor is always represented as I. So therefore I is equal to, right? So normal molar mass divided by abnormal molar mass, right? So the Ventov factor, if you ask for 1 mark, or you can call it as observed colligative properties, whatever the colligative properties you have observed, and divided by calculated colligative properties. It is always represented as I, right? So Ventov factor is always represented as I, right? So therefore, to calculate this I, there is one formula, there is normal molar mass divided by abnormal molar mass, or you can call it as observed colligative properties divided by calculated colligative properties, which means if it is greater than or lesser than the normal molar mass, then it is called as abnormal molar mass. To calculate this, we have one factor that is generally called as a Ventov factor. Therefore, I is equal to normal molar mass divided by abnormal molar mass, or I is equal to observed colligative properties divided by calculated colligative properties, right? So today we have seen some of the important concept. So that is, first one is osmosis, right? So today we have studied different concept. One is osmosis, that is the fourth colligative property. Second one is osmotic pressure, right? So that is osmotic pressure. And third one is reverse osmosis, right? Along with that, we have studied a hypertonic solution. Along with that, we have studied the isotonic solution. right? And the last concept what we have studied, that is abnormal molar mass as well as Van 't Hoff's factor, right? So these are the concepts which we have learned today. That is osmosis, osmotic pressure, reverse osmosis, hypertonic solution, isotonic solution, abnormal molar mass, and Van 't Hoff factor, right? So this completes your chapter, and we'll go with the next chapter in the next class. Thanks for joining. I will give these notes even in case of your WhatsApp also. Go through the notes, prepare your own notes, and it will be very helpful for your animal examination. This completes the second chapter, that is solutions. We'll solve some of the problems on this chapter also. Thank you.